When did you open your bottle of EH Taylor?
I opened it last week before the pod.
Do you have the small batch?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think I told you this, but we got that single barrel. Anthony and I got that single barrel
Yeah.
version
I
of it.
remember that.
I haven't opened it, but I was curious to open this one because I've literally have like 4 or 5 of these that I've never opened one. I just realized it.
The small batch?
Yeah.
Damn. Honestly, dude, it tasted really good. It was
Was
sipping
it?
well. That's what I had during the podcast last week.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I literally, because I was looking through my cabinet the other night and I was just like, why do I just randomly have all these? Like I've never opened one somehow.
If you need to offload one, I got you. I'll take that.
Well, you know what it is? I think this one, because it was like so hard to find. I mean, it still kind of is, like in Michigan at least. But I feel like I like was hoarding them during COVID. Like I got like one or something at the time. So then now I'm just like in that weird mode. But then like every time we've gone to Buffalo Trace, they've had it again.
Yeah, it was nice to have that and Blanton's this year. I need to slow down, man. I've already drank like nearly half of that Blanton's bottle already.
Hey, it's good stuff. I took it to Christmas and even like, people that don't usually drink bourbon were like trying it because they were just like, how it gets that rep where it's like, oh, it's, Blanton's, it's the bottle. I feel like they were like, yeah, we'd love some. We've never had it before.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like it gets overhyped and I get that, but it is good. Like on New Year's Eve, I had a Bourbon County Stout. That was my consumption for the night. And then I was just kind of sitting here. I was playing video games and I was like, I'm going to go get one little pour of Blanton's. And I was like, damn, dude, this stuff, it still hits the spot every time. Like, I know it gets a little overhyped because people try and buy it for like $200 in secondary and retailers upcharge it to a price that's not really worth. But yeah, I mean, if you can buy it at its actual price, it's definitely worth the buy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I think I sent a picture in the group chat. The store that's locally here that I usually go to down the road had the Blanton's Gold, and it was like their pick. And it was $200, which clearly is overpriced. But I'm also just like, I don't know, like, is that actually like reasonable? That's why I think I sent it to the group just to get a reaction.
Yeah. Well, I asked, remember, and Anthony said he thought that for a store pick of gold that was kind of a decent price. I'm like, seems like a lot, but I bet it tastes delicious.
Yeah, I know. Remember that they always seem like a lot. Remember that Bardstown one none of us bought, and then we all regretted it.
Oh yeah. Dude, can we talk about speaking of regrets? I just have a gripe that I want to just get off my chest here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Week 18 of the NFL. What are we doing? Okay, let me just get some stuff off my chest here. We talked last week about how, and I was hyped. If you remember, I was like, dude, there's like 4 really meaningful football games. We're gonna have good football week 18. And then 2 of the most important games played on Saturday. I'm like, well, first of all, this is college's day. So thank you for ruining that. But we had 2 good games on Saturday. And then Sunday, I'm like, what the hell am I watching on my TV here? Like, this is all just some bullshit. Like, I'm watching third stringers play against third stringers here. And you got the Patriots, they're starting Drake May. And then he's pulled at halftime or in the third quarter because, like, they've pretty much guaranteed the number 1 seed. And then, like, the Broncos pull their starters because the Patriots win. And I'm like, dude, what just happened? All these games just went to shit, like, and so I'm sitting here watching football on Sunday and I'm like, why am I even watching this? Literally none of this matters at all. Like, I'm watching teams play for nothing with not even having their starters on the field. I can't help but feel like people who are betting US currency this week are getting screwed over. And guess who's dumbass who didn't bet for like the last 6-7 weeks was like, I'll just make one casual bet this week. That dumbass was me. And my bet was that Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, and Drake May would all have 200 passing yards, which should be cake, should be easy. And I knew that the Broncos and the Patriots were tied in records, so they would both be playing to try and get the number 1 overall seed. And so things were fine. Drake May was playing. He got to 191 yards. And then they benched him with like, I think it was like 12 minutes left in the game, and they benched him. He was 9 yards away.
Wow. 9 yards? That's all?
Yep. So I'm just like, cool. This is, and I know better. Like I don't think I've ever made any bets on week 18 or formerly week 17 football. But I was just like, man, I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to throw $5 out there. And then, dude, like, come on.
You were a little froggy.
I decided to jump.
Well, you jumped into, a pile of poop.
But it is wild. Did you watch any football on Sunday?
I watched a little bit, but kind of to your point, actually, the one game that I, believe it or not, watched the most was the Bucks and the Panthers because we were out at a brewery with a couple of friends, and it was on the TV. So you know what I mean? It was like right in front
Yeah.
of me. And so we were just like kind of watching the game while we were talking and eating.
Yeah, a meaningful football game, and it was played on freaking Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Seahawks and Niners, another really meaningful game, played on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing that was worth watching on Sunday was the Steelers and Ravens game. And, you know, maybe I don't know if you want to, maybe we can talk about some of the games this past week, but that one I think is worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
what the hell happened in that game? And it was actually worth watching, but that was a Sunday night game. All of the day games sucked ass.
Well, I mean, that was one of the few games that was a play-in game, right? Like, but pretty much whoever won that game would make the playoffs, right? The Ravens still had a shot. Yeah.
It was winning in, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Were there any others other than, I mean, Bucks and Panthers kind of was that, but that was a very weird situation of what happened.
Let's talk about that, dude.
So weird. I was like, wait,
What
the
a
Panthers
mess.
got in?
So, yeah, the reason that happened is because the Falcons won the last 3 games of the season, including beating the Rams the week before that, which nobody saw coming. It was shaping up. That was, I think, a Monday night game the week before. And so it was shaping up that it was going to be Bucks versus Panthers. Whoever wins makes the playoffs. No. Because the Falcons beat the Rams. And then it became, if the Panthers beat the Bucks, they're in. If the Bucks beat the Panthers, they also need the Falcons to lose to the Saints.
Which is
so what
wild.
happened was these 3 teams all ended up having the same record overall. And so instead of it being head to head, it went to like division record. And the Panthers had the best division record out of the 3 teams.
Yeah.
So that's why they made the playoffs. But it's so crazy because they would have literally have missed the playoffs if the Falcons didn't tie them in record. Like, just what a weird concept.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the fact that I mean, I get it. Obviously, there's many other factors to it, but the fact that they won that game and it was a close game, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you didn't make the playoffs, so good luck."
Right, and also like the Falcons with just nothing to play with, just come out and win and just completely screw over the Bucks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, apparently they didn't really care. Who'd they play? The Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Saints are horrible, so it's like they're probably gonna win.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just a weird situation. I thought this was so funny, but I saw a clip that it was basically after the Bucks and the Falcons played their last game. It showed Kirk Cousins going up to Baker Mayfield afterwards, shaking his hand and being like, "Hey, go win the South," because the Falcons didn't have a chance to win it. And then because Kirk Cousins and the Falcons won their last 3 games, they actually eliminated Baker Mayfield from winning this. Like, he literally told him to win the South, and it is like the reason that he didn't win the South.
Because, well, I'm trying to remember though. Cousins was starting because Penix was hurt, right? Like he's out for the year. He was out for the year at some point.
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy because how much did they pay to get Cousins at whatever point, and then he just is back somehow.
There's a lot of those actually in football right now, but what an insane position to be in where you pay that much money for Cousins, then you draft a rookie, and then he takes over the job in his first season, comes into season 2 starting, gets hurt, and now you got to go back to Cousins, who is like one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, sitting on your bench. Hasn't looked amazing, but then won 3 games. And now what do you do? Like, do teams want to try and come knock on the door and trade for Kirk Cousins at this stage in his career with that contract that he has? I mean, where do we go from here?
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of like, it's the same situation as guys like Tua, and there's other guys like that aren't coming to mind right now, but there are some really expensive quarterbacks that you kind of feel like you have to start.
You know what I call that guy from Miami?
Tua?
Huck Tua.
Oh, well, I mean,
I don't know. I'm just making a troll joke. But okay, hold on. Go back to the game that mattered, though. The Steelers and the Ravens. What the hell happened? I mean, listen, it sucks. Obviously, it can come down to a field goal. There's a lot of other things that can happen in the game, but that dude was a rookie kicker, right? And he missed the field goal to win the game, basically.
Yep. Yep. But there's a lot that led up to that, though. Did you watch the game Sunday night?
I did not. I just saw a couple highlights. I thought it was
it was
pretty
crazy.
Good game, right?
Going into the fourth quarter, the Steelers were winning 13-10 going into the fourth quarter, right? So this game ended up as 26-24. So like they scored more than double the points in the fourth quarter than they did in the first 3. It literally started halfway through. It didn't even start like at the beginning of the fourth, but when there was only like 8 minutes left, Lamar threw a 50-yard touchdown to Zay Flowers, and they took the lead. And then the Steelers came down and scored a touchdown with like 8.5 minutes left. So then they took the lead. And then like a minute later, Lamar threw a 64-yard touchdown to Zay Flowers and took the lead back. And then And then with 55 seconds left, the Steelers scored a 26-yard touchdown. Like all of a sudden in like 4 minutes, there was like 4 touchdowns. And then the Ravens got the ball back with like 55 seconds. They come down, they get into like a 40-yard field goal range. But not only that, let me back it up. The Steelers missed the extra point on their last touchdown. So they were only winning by 2. They should have been winning by 3. They're only winning by 2. Ravens come down, get into position. It looks like if they kick this field goal, they win instead of going to overtime. And then they miss. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, that's rough, man. And I mean, I know that this wasn't all that led to it, but then to top it off, John Harbaugh got fired after 18 seasons. Which is kind of crazy, but it was kind of also like, man, he's been there for 18 years. That's crazy.
That is crazy. You know what's funny about that? I had actually thought when Michigan was going through their hiring process, like, well, we won a national championship with Jim Harbaugh. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we could get John Harbaugh? Like, I literally had those thoughts, and I was like, hey, he's never going to leave the Ravens. And then like a week later, like 2 weeks later, fired. Did you see them try to interview Lamar after the game?
Yeah, he was like, I did catch the clip. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what he said, but I remember it was like kind of, he was like, I'm just focused on this game, or whatever, the loss, or I'm in awe. And he like didn't really address it, right?
It was awkward. It was like he knew that Harbaugh was on the chopping block. Like they asked him some question about like whether or not like he wanted Harbaugh to coach next year or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm only thinking about today. Like it was almost like he knew that Harbaugh was going to be gone. Very strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. What are your general thoughts? Like, do you think moving forward obviously the Ravens have still been relevant and good. It's not like they're, horrible. They just obviously struggled this year and Lamar was injured. But do you think that they were really just in need of something new, or like they need like a refresh at the coach level? Because they have a reasonable squad. I just feel like their defense isn't that great.
Yeah, which is really different than most Ravens teams. Historically, they usually have good defenses. And
right.
Man, I don't know. You kind of got the sense as the season was getting closer to the end after how disappointing it's been compared to how they've been for like the last 5+ years.
Yeah.
It was almost like something's got to happen. And then you start hearing all these rumors like, well, maybe they'll trade Lamar in the offseason. And then I heard this headline like, well, John Harbaugh's running out of patience with Lamar Jackson because he had these injuries all year and he kind of played like shit overall. Like he was not good this season. Oh. And so it kind of came down to like, it was like all this pressure was starting to be on Lamar and not really. I had heard nothing about John Harbaugh, and maybe it's because I'm an out of network observer. Maybe there was more talk about that, and local networks may have been all over it. But
yeah,
all signs to me were kind of pointing towards like, hey, Lamar could be the one on the road here. And then all of a sudden this happens, and it's like, well, Lamar's probably stay. It's almost like they had to make a decision between head coach and QB.
Yeah,
and they decided, hey, man, we have a superstar quarterback whose time he's only getting older. Yep. Let's try and invest in him now and get it done. And I don't know, man. It definitely caught me by surprise to see Harbaugh get fired.
They're just going to hire Sharon Moore.
No,
can you imagine?
They probably aren't. They're probably not.
Can you imagine the turn of events that would be?
Listen, man, Sharon Moore, let's be honest. Let's just call it what it was. Like he was already, there were talks about him potentially being fired for his performance as a head coach outside of his extracurriculars. See what I did there? Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't know. Well,
Connor Stallions might go there, though. Connor Stallions will get a job before Sharon Moore.
Maybe. I mean, he's a high school coach. You never know. But so the other one was Stefanski got fired by the Browns, which it's a little bit odd because didn't he win like Coach of the Year a few years ago? Which, like, again, I know he had a little bit of a turnaround, especially for the Browns. But I mean, the Browns, man, they have just been bad for a long time. They just they have struggled, and they've had moments where they've done better. Some seasons, obviously, better. But talk about a mess. They have the Shador stuff going on. Their QB room's all jacked up. I mean, like, what the hell? Like, it just seems like I don't know, man. Like, they need like a new owner or something. A new GM, a new owner, a new coach, and like refresh the whole thing.
I think Stefanski did a lot of damage this year. I'm not going to lie. And
really,
again, I'm not in the Cleveland market. I don't watch all their games. I don't know all their local news. But just looking at the quarterback room, let's just start with that. Everything that you heard in the offseason was that like Shador Sanders is working out with like the ball boys on the sideline. He's like not getting anywhere close to getting reps with like the first string offense. And, they had Flacco at first, right? And then you let him go. You have two quarterbacks who desperately need development. Dylan Gabriel wasn't ready to be their starter. Or Sanders wasn't ready to be their starter. You got a guy who has a ton of experience. let's ride this out. He's not expensive. Flacco's not an expensive quarterback.
Yeah.
But instead they trade him after like 3 weeks and they start Dylan Gabriel, which all of a sudden, and this is after they've traded Kenny Pickett away. So all of a sudden now we've got Shedeur as your backup and Dylan as your starter. And where do we go from here? You have 2 rookie quarterbacks and that's it.
Yeah.
Deshaun's still hurt. What do we do? Like, first of all, what are we doing with that? And you would think if that's the situation you were in, that you would be getting both of them prepared for the situation. But all signs indicate that Shedeur really didn't get to any types of reps with anyone good on that team. He was still only working with like 3rd, 4th string teammates, to the point that when he finally did get put in the game and start, the linemen were like, we don't even know his cadence. Like, we weren't even sure like how to respond to his cadence. And like, that shouldn't be something that's happening in a live football game. So again, that's just the quarterback position, but it felt incredibly mismanaged. And I feel like it let that team just be set up for failure.
It's funny. I literally saw, it was definitely troll. Well, maybe, I don't know. You never know these days, but I definitely saw a post on X saying that Deion Sanders asked or requested to be interviewed for the Browns job and they denied him. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was just dying. I was like, is this real or are people just trying to poke at the bear?
It's probably not real, but honestly, in today's day and age, like you said, it could be. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, dude, with the way Colorado's been playing this year, like that they need some help there too. So I don't know if he's the answer to fix the Browns at this rate.
He's not. He's not the answer. But Stefanski wasn't either. But then who is? Like, this, and that's kind of where I wanted to go. Let me back up to the Ravens really quick. I'll be trying to be brief here, but who is the answer then? If it's not John Harbaugh, who the hell are you going to replace him with that you can objectively say is better positioned to lead that team to success?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of the times I feel like they'll try to pull, one of the offensive or defensive coordinators that has had like a pretty good year overall. So I don't know if is it someone from the Patriots? Is it someone from the Seahawks? Like, I'm just trying to think of teams that turn things around. And the Panthers are doing better. They're not great, but they made the playoffs. The Jaguars,
the Panthers made the playoffs with a losing record. We don't consider that a turnaround.
You know what I'm saying, though, compared to last year. I mean, they've taken a step towards being better.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs. Last year, they won, like one game or something? Like 2 games?
They sucked last year, but for all intents and purposes, they sucked this year, too.
They were mid. They were mid.
They have a losing record. Just because they won their division is the only reason. There were multiple teams ahead of them in the wild card if they didn't win their division.
You got to go somewhere. You're either down or up, and they went up. Technically,
I suppose.
I don't know. You're a North Carolina guy, so just trying to give you some. I'm just trying to give you some slack for your home team, your home state team.
Well, I live here. I have to watch a lot of their games because I live here, but that doesn't make me a Panther by any means.
Well, 20 minutes in, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Single Barrel Sports Podcast. For those of you who are hopefully enjoying the discussion, we'll keep this super brief. You can find all of our stuff at singlebarrelsports.com. We have all sorts of social media platforms we're on, and you can find our episodes, clips, merch store, all sorts of stuff. If you think we're having a pretty entertaining conversation and you want to hear more or continue to hear from us, consider that subscribe button. It's free, or follow us and drop us some comments. But
yeah, and I'll just add to that, Deeb, that anything that we talk about here is fair game to be clipped and posted on socials. So if you disagree with anything we've said, or maybe you just want to say, you know what, Scott and Deeb, you guys got that right. You just nailed it. Check out our social media and comment on our stuff and tell us how right or wrong we are.
Okay, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about NFL more. Don't worry. We're going to have what I'd like to do at some point is I do want to go through the playoff bracket and at least do our picks for the wild card match.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that. But I want to talk and talk a little bit more about college football, which is also right now in a weird situation. And it has to do with the playoffs, but, obviously we have the playoff. We'll talk about that in a little bit and give you our kind of quote unquote picks for the weekend. But have you seen any of the transfer portal stuff that's going on?
Honestly, too much, man. And I'm going to be just very candid here. This is probably the second busiest week that I've had at my job since I started a little over a year ago. And so I'm catching highlights here and there, and I'm just like, man, this is too much. Like, the transfer portal is something I would love to say that, like, well, I'm watching it like a hawk and I really understand what's happening, but I would be lying. I have no clue what the hell is going on other than checking Twitter occasionally to try and get some summaries.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I've been watching my own team a lot more than any others because obviously with the coaching scandal, I really wanted to see who was going to leave and who was going to stay.
Yeah.
So shout out Bryce Underwood for staying. That's big. Our true freshman quarterback from last year coming back, wearing the blue again. And there's a lot of stuff that I've missed, though. I've seen quarterbacks from like North Texas going to like Oklahoma State and like random shit like that. And I'm like, no, dude, you can tell me about it because I don't know.
Well, there's a lot out there, so obviously I don't know everything either. But there's a few of them that I think are actually super interesting that I've seen more lately. Some of it has to do with my fandom to Oregon. So like I feel like obviously my algorithm's rigged and it has.
Did you guys just get a running back? I see you guys. Am I tripping?
So let me address that part. I don't know. I can't tell you if we got a running back, but we've definitely lost some running backs, which is one of the controversies. So I'll start with that. So, well, number one, before I even talk about the running backs at Oregon, there's a larger discussion that probably I'm sure you've heard of, and maybe you've seen some coaches talking about it. I know Lanning talked about it recently in one of the press conferences about just like overall the schedule for college football is like logistically makes no sense, right? So like you have teams that get to the playoffs, they're in the playoffs, there's these weird weeks in between, and I get it, there's holidays and stuff, but there's like all this time off, so there's the whole bye situation. And then the transfer portal opens in the middle of people playing for basically like the biggest games of the year in the playoffs, both the national championship and the semifinal and even a couple of these other games. So number one, the timing is super awkward, right? So like you got coaches leaving who have already committed to other schools, but they might still be coaching. Some of them are completely leaving, like, LSU, for example, where now their team could be playing for a national championship, was also awkward.
You're talking about Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah, with excuse me, yeah. Ole Miss and LSU, that kind of weird situation with their coaching. You have some coaches that are still coaching in the playoff, but they're already head coaches for next year. So that puts them in such a weird position, right? Like transfer portal's open. I'm coaching on my team that I'm leaving, and who should I take with me, right? Like that's such an awkward position to be in as a coach. Can you imagine being in that role where you're like, well, I could win a national championship, I'm leaving to a new team, and a transfer portal just opened. What am I focused on right now?
It's the whole thing is ass backwards. It doesn't make any sense to me that the timelines align that way, where coaches have to announce if they're going to take new jobs. Players have to announce if they're going to enter the portal. None of this should be happening until at least the day after the national championship. What a distraction to the players. What a disruption to the fandom. How do you coach appropriately in those situations? And how do players actually do, and coaches actually do what they really want to do that they feel is best for them without becoming the villain, right? Like Lane Kiffin became the villain. The whole Ole Miss thing right now, they're rallying to say F you to him.
Yep.
But in reality, he took a job that may be better for his career, and the timing, I'm sure he didn't want to take that job in like the end of November or early December or whatever, before he got to do the playoffs with his team. He probably did not want the timing to be that way.
Yep. But then, there's all the weird negotiations that have to happen, and, they might be trying to force him. So creates just a mess. Let's put it that way. So, there's been some suggestions about, can you move everything to like week 0 where everybody has a game? Like, let's not just BS and have these like stupid, like 3 games that is week 0, move everything back. Don't, cut out all the stupid like month off bye for the playoff. Like if you just were to tighten the schedule, it could be
like the NFL.
Pretty reasonable. Yeah, it could be like a thing. And I think they'll maybe get there, hopefully. But so that leads me to the first one with the Ducks. So they have, for those of you that are not familiar, they had about 6 running backs, I think, going into this season. Now, they had one guy that transferred from Tulane, I think he was the highest ranked running back in the transfer portal last year. Transferred in, a lot of hype. He literally played 3 snaps the whole year. I don't know what the hell happened. I have no idea if he's bad behavior, no one, there's been no information. So then in the middle of the year, he redshirts, and he's like a junior, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's an older player. So this dude redshirts, okay? So everyone's like, oh, he's going to transfer. He's not playing. They have a senior running back who's very good, Noah Whittington. Some of you may have seen his highlight versus Minnesota, and I think we were watching it on the Bourbon Trail, if you remember, Scott, where he ran through 50 guys.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So that dude's a senior, solid player. But then they've had two freshmen that are phenomenal and it's basically been a three-headed horse there where they have these three dudes in rotation. So one of the freshmen broke his clavicle apparently, like just this
Ooh,
week going into this game. So he's out. He's their leading touchdown scorer for running backs.
yikes.
And then they had, I think, two or three people transfer this week. So they literally went from having like 6 to like 3 serviceable running backs going into this game all of a
Wow.
sudden because of like all of this random stuff.
So how does that work then? The people who declared for the transfer portal, are they still playing?
I don't actually know if they can. Like I don't know the rules behind that, or if the coaches see that as like, why would we let you play? You're like basically a
Right.
traitor now.
It
I don't
creates a
know
lot
how
of
that.
controversy, right? Because like on one hand, it could be like, oh, well, let's finish your time at Oregon strong, or we need you to win the national championship. Please play.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, well, what if they get hurt for, let's say they tear an Achilles during this game?
Yeah.
Now the team that they're transferring to is not going to actually have them next year.
Yep. So
it's a mess, dude. That's a huge mess.
very weird scenario that has to do with the playoff and the transfer portal. But then there's this other super interesting one I want to talk about real quick. So did you see what happened to the Washington quarterback at
No.
all? Okay, so the dude's name is, I think, Damon Williams. So pretty reasonable player. I only know this since Washington's Oregon's rival, so they played this year. Pretty reasonable player. Like I think he has a lot of talent. Very skilled dude. Like I give him credit. So literally like 4 days ago, he agreed via like NIL to return to Washington, and it was like a $4 million deal or something.
Okay.
Then literally 4 days later, he announced on social media that he is transferring, and there's speculation that LSU is trying to steal him basically. Like they've offered him more money to come there. And so now there's like allegations of tampering by LSU, and the school and the football program is potentially going to take legal action if he tries to leave because of like the timing and all this weird stuff popping up.
So how does that work with NIL? I'm sure you have to sign contracts and all that. So like, are those binding? Like you cannot get out of them, or because it's not like pro where you have to get traded or retire to get out of a contract. I'm assuming, right? Like these are still men attending college, right? Like,
yeah, well, and I guess that's the thing though, is like some of the NIL stuff has also changed over the last few years. Like I think in the past it was more like, a group can open up, an outside group can open up like a fundraiser or whatever, like for players, and then they all donate money into there, and then they can pay the players from that. I think now, from if I'm not mistaken, and moving forward, there is more that has to do with like the actual universities having some of the deals or some sort of like payments to the students. So, or the athletes, excuse me. So I don't know if there's like that weird technicality of, because you know what I mean? How could Washington sue him if they didn't have to do with paying him?
Right.
That doesn't really make sense.
And I don't understand like the timelines too. So obviously there's a window where you can declare to enter the transfer portal. So what are the rules if you say you're going to stay, but then you end up saying you want to transfer when the window is still open? I don't know how any of that works. I'm more of an NFL guy. When I was younger, I was more into college, and I've been getting back into it over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I don't understand like the minutia like that. And like, I don't know if anyone does, because it seems like it's a moving target where it's changing a little bit every year.
Yeah. So, and I'll admit, I don't know all of the details either, just because, like you said, and we talked about, it has changed so much over the past few years and will continue to change. So I don't know if there's any, like, I'm not 100% sure if they'll actually be able to take a legal action, but just a super awkward scenario. And I don't know if this is true. I think this was a rumor I saw. I think Portnoy might have posted a video about it today. He said that he announced it too during like someone's funeral. Like somebody, I don't know if it was on the team or something weird. It had to do with the team. Like it was like coinciding with like someone's funeral on the team or something. And I was like, dude, that's got to be a crazy situation right now in that locker room, or like off-season locker room of like, what the heck is going on there?
Hold on, I'm Googling this.
I mean, I saw like a short clip of him talking about it. So
this is just from Reddit. Take it with a huge grain of salt, but it's the first thing that popped up.
Reddit warrior.
Damon Williams posted his Instagram farewell during Mia Hammonds, who's a Washington women's soccer goalkeeper who died from cancer
Oh,
this year.
yeah,
He
yeah.
announced it during her memorial service that included tons of members of the football team in attendance.
Yeah. Super
Interesting.
awkward. Super awkward place to do that. But I don't know, man. It's
Dave Portnoy's title on his video says, "Nobody has any allegiance to anybody."
I mean, yeah, essentially that's what the transfer portal right now is showing. The
Hey,
last
money, money, money.
Yeah. Well, the last one, I think you were part of this in one of our, I think it might have been on Discord in our college football 26 group chat. But did you see the guy that's visiting different colleges as part of his transfer portal? And one of the colleges on his list is the college he goes to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what is this guy doing? Like, what do you mean? He's going to just come back and visit? That's so awkward.
He's like, "Hey, why don't you guys sweeten the pot? What can you offer me?" Meanwhile, he's still currently on their roster.
I'm like, who's this guy's agent? I mean, it might work. You never know.
Hey, it could set a new precedent, man. It could be the new thing.
I don't know, man.
That's insane.
It's wild.
Money has certainly changed college football, and we've talked about that before. I think it, in some regards, has helped other conferences to rise up to maybe the level of like the SEC, for example.
Mm-hmm.
We see that. I think the Big Ten is the premier conference, at least right now. Last couple of years, it feels like it has been. But it also, I think, in a way, has taken away the ability of small market teams to kind of be upset agents because they can't. I mean, if everyone's getting paid, then those like diamonds in the rough are going to just go to these big schools and they're never going to stay in these smaller universities.
Yep.
For better or worse. I mean, these guys are generating millions of dollars of revenue. They probably do deserve to be paid for the revenue they're generating. But in a way, it's almost like I feel like college football is trending towards a 2-conference system, just like professional sports are. And
Yeah.
eventually, should everything just be part of the big and then everything be a part of the SEC? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I mean, there's just so many more teams in college that's what I think makes it
Yeah.
weird. And there's also the only other thing I'll say is, and maybe I don't know if this, I mean, again, this is kind of the complication is there's also just so many other sports, right? It's
Yep.
not just
Yep.
football when it comes to college. So I feel like that creates just chaos because there's like
Mhm.
all these other sports that are also involved. So if you are going to make 2 conferences, everybody technically as a school, I believe, has to go into those conferences. Like it's not just only footballs in the Big Ten. It's like, well, all your sports now are Big Ten.
Yeah. Actually,
So,
that's a conversation Raven and I had recently because, like, Ferris State, for example,
mm-hmm.
they've won like 4 national championships in Division II football out of the last 5 years, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
And their hockey team is part of Division I hockey,
I didn't know that.
but the rest of the school is Div 2. So it's just like, I think that's a unique situation. I don't think that's something that many schools, I think most schools are either like 1, 2, or 3, and they don't have sort of like a mixed bag like that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't really know how that works. I mean, I know that there can be different divisions or whatever. Like you can technically be in different maybe levels depending on the sport, but I don't know that you can switch conferences for like one sport. You know what I mean? Because the Big Ten has all their like branding and you know what I mean? There's a lot of money involved in that too, of like the conferences get money if your school wins or makes it. Like I think there's just like a lot more to it behind the scenes than just, well, yeah, everybody's in one conference now. Like that would have to
Yeah.
be, I don't know. I just think there's too many schools. That's honestly probably the problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And you can't really change that, right? That's not something you can take away, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I almost feel like we should follow like European soccer and how they do like the relegation system where like if you're in the bottom team in your league, then you get like relegated down a division. But if you like win the championship in a lower league, then you could be like relegated up a division. Like it'd be interesting to see, you know, a school like Ferris that's won that many national championships, how could they compete in a larger conference in D1? They'd probably get their ass whooped.
Probably. There'd be like a JMU.
To quote you, I'd probably be eating my socks saying this, right? Like it wouldn't make any sense in practice, but like conceptually, it's kind of like, man, this team is absolutely wrecking schools in Div 2. Like, should we bring them to Div 1? But I don't think it works that way. Like,
It depends on
realistically,
what
it probably doesn't.
depends on what conference you put them in. If it's like, you know what I mean? If they're in the conference with like JMU and Tulane, I mean, they might have a shot. Like they might
Yeah.
be competitive. I really can't say if they would or not, but I would think they would be more competitive in there than like an SEC. Like I think they
Oh,
get
yeah.
wiped. I don't
Yeah.
even know if they may not Well,
You don't think Georgia would go into Big Rapids, Michigan, and take an L?
I mean, if they did, I would probably go see the game since it's not that far
Yeah.
away.
If Georgia lost to Fair State, I would probably take a poop. That's probably what I would
Well,
do.
well, I mean, remember when Michigan lost to Appalachian State?
We don't talk about that.
Like sometimes I'll bring that up with Tim, which I know you know, and he'll like have all these reasons why. Like he'll like go down a laundry list of like all the reasons why, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to defend it. Like it just happened, you know. Like they lost to Toledo too. It's not a big deal. Like it happens.
Yeah. You know what? Any given Sunday, man. Although it doesn't really feel that way anymore.
I do. So I don't know why, but I think you know this, but I was in Vegas last month and I was gone for the pod that week. But for some reason, this made me think of this story when I had saw it. But they're moving the Oakland A's baseball team to Vegas. Okay. I don't know if you knew that. So they're supposed to be.
So they're following the Raiders then.
Yeah.
Man, imagine having the Vegas Knights, which is an awesome hockey team. And then the two other teams that come to you are the Raiders. Well, I guess the Athletics have been a little bit better lately. But imagine getting like those two teams and being like, oh, okay, well, got the Raiders in my city now. Cool.
Yeah. Well, remember, Vegas is more about tourism. So they just probably they're going to sell tickets to those games because there's a bunch of random people that just want to go to something.
Yeah.
Like us, we would probably go if we were there.
Yeah. Like if the Bills were in town, I'd be like, let's plan a Vegas trip around that, right? Because I would love to see the Bills play. But yeah, it's just like, you're right, though. You're right. It makes more sense to have a kind of a crappy team go to a big market tourism city, I guess, because they're still going to sell tickets.
Yep. So when I was there, I remember this because I think we took an Uber and there was just like a giant space cleared out. It's over by, if you can kind of just generally recall visually, where Mandalay Bay and MGM exactly are, like kind of that.
Down on the edge, yeah.
Excalibur, that kind of area. So there was like a giant space cleared off, and it was, I don't remember what hotel it was, but it was just like a huge, just, you know, looked like it was like going to be a construction site. And so I was like, oh, like, what are they building here? You know, just looked out of curiosity. And then that's when he told me, that's when I found out. He said, oh, they're going to bring the baseball team here, and they're building a new stadium that's going to go in this area. So I randomly came across this, but apparently they're having issues with the trademark of the name, the Las Vegas Athletics, and they keep getting denied over and over again. And they're like doing all these appeals, and there's all, because it's basically like, I feel like they said from the article that I said, they said they're supposed to relocate in 2028. They said the people who do the naming of the trademarking said the term athletics is too generic and could easily be confused with other uses.
It is, though. I mean, they're right. Like if you told me like, oh yeah, it's part of the Las Vegas Athletics, I'd be like, oh, that's like a sports organization for youth, right? Like they probably have baseball teams and hockey teams and soccer teams and football. Like it's probably like and when I used to live in St. Louis, like the Jefferson County Youth Association or whatever, like it's just that, like it's a youth association for sports, right? It's the Athletics. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that.
But the crazier thing though is when I looked it up, they've had the name the Athletics back to 1901.
And was it trademarked in Oakland?
So they were in Philadelphia, I believe, when it when they first had the name, and then it moved over to Oakland at whatever point. I don't know what year it was. So I mean, but the thing is, they've had that name for 25 years, and now they're just like, no, you can't have that name. Like it's too general.
Good. That's a good reason to have to change your name. We won't get into other teams that have had to change their names, but this is a good one. I like this one.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but I just thought that was like just so random and interesting. Number one, that they're moving there. Number two, the name thing. Just like, so
names are weird, man. Like when, again, I won't go too far into this, but when the Redskins had to change their name and then like the tribal people were pissed. Mm-hmm. Like we're losing money. Like we liked that was the name. Now you're taking money away from our tribe. Like you're not helping us. You think you're high and mighty telling us that they should change their name. You're screwing us over now.
Yeah. Well, you know, we kind of teased this a little bit at the beginning, but I do want to go back to providing some picks, right, of who we think is going to move forward. So I know that we did an ESPN bracket. So for those of you that haven't been following or kind of wanted an update, we did an ESPN bracket for college football playoff. And I think literally right now, like, what is there, like 2 people, and you might be one of
I am one
them
of them. Yep, I am.
somehow, that like pretty much, is there only one person remaining out of like, what was it, like 20 something people that did it, that
Well, there's
even has the national champion even still in the race right now?
no. There's more people that have so there are a bunch of people that have Indiana to
Okay.
win, but there's only 2 people who have a chance to win the bracket. And it's me and somebody else. And it's
Okay.
because we have more points than everybody else does leading up to this.
Gotcha.
And so it literally in our bracket comes down to the Oregon Indiana game. And that's what's so funny about it is I have a chance to win the championship, but if Oregon loses and Indiana wins, I will go from like second place to like 18th place. But there still will only be one person that can win because all those people who have Indiana to win have the same bracket.
Yeah.
And he's already a step ahead of them, right? So like if Indiana beats Oregon and all else is the same, then he automatically wins. The only way that can change is if Oregon beats Indiana, I win, because everyone else's brackets become null and void, and I have more points right now.
Yeah.
And I have in my bracket, I have Oregon beating Indiana.
So do I.
So that's the
For
only
better
way.
or for worse.
So it became a 2-man race because basically it's me with more points than everybody else choosing Oregon, and it's him with more points than everybody else choosing Indiana. And so like the national championship literally doesn't matter at all. The semifinal game matters way more than anything else does, which is so funny to think about.
Which is really crazy. Okay, so in our brackets are, I don't want to say busted, but they're busted, right?
They're busted.
We're not gonna win based on we're gonna win on technicality, like the Panthers.
I'm gonna win on dumb luck if I win. Yeah.
You're gonna be the Panthers, it could happen.
Hoping.
But we have Miami and Ole Miss, and I think Miami is a 3.5 favorite in this game. And we have Oregon and Indiana in the rematch, and Indiana is a 3.5 favorite. Right now, who do you have in both of those games with the odds?
First thought, Ole Miss and Oregon. I like the Indiana story that's happening right now, but it feels corny to me. It feels like John Cena trying to win a championship where like it's a fan service. So call me Vince McMahon and let's go Oregon. Let's crush that dream. And Ole Miss is just one of those stories where, again, it's a big FU to Lane Kiffin, and I'm kind of here for it at this point. Let's just keep the train rolling. They beat Georgia. Georgia was who I had to win. I look like an idiot. For the last 5 months, I've been saying Georgia is going to be our national champions. So why don't I choose the team that beat them? Might as well.
Yeah. Okay. I like those. I like both of those. I deeply struggle with both of these matchups. I'm not going to lie. Like, these are actually pretty tough. My intuition tells me Indiana, and that's not necessarily based on like what happened in the first game, right? Because I watched the first game very closely, and I thought it was still a pretty close game. My intuition tells me Indiana, just because, like, if they continue to play how they have played so far, like, that is a very tough team to beat. And I could even see it coming down to a field goal or being another blowout, as weird as that sounds. Because if Oregon shows up and their defense plays like they did versus Texas Tech, I think we have a very potentially even low scoring, close matchup. If the defense doesn't show up, though, I could also see it being a blowout, because Indiana is just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're just somehow that good. Like, they're
a complete team, right?
So weird.
They really don't have weaknesses, right? They're a complete team. But if Oregon's defense can play like they did against Texas Tech, which was phenomenal, couldn't be any better, gave up 0 points, they can beat anybody. True. They've always been an offensive team, right? Their defense is finally looking better. It could happen. This could be the year, Deeb. You should be excited.
I'm not sure if they played that way because their coaches dunked on them for not playing as well versus GMU. So they had like that motivation to play well. And now I'm like, okay, they played well. Can they really do that again when it matters? That's what I'm curious to see, if they can or not. Then I might be pleasantly surprised, but as an Oregon fan, I'm usually sorely disappointed in these situations. So well, I have Indiana to make it.
It's okay to be cautiously optimistic. I will be aggressively optimistic for you because, again, Vince McMahon. I don't think I should ever say that, actually. I am not Vince McMahon, and I don't condone his actions. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I just mean that nope, not that either. Dude, okay. I'm speaking of that. All right. I saw a meme today. I don't remember who sent it to me. It might have been. I don't think it was in our group text, but it might have been. I don't know. Hold on. Now I got to look. Who the hell sent me this meme? Anyway, it was
You're
talking about a hockey game.
disgusted?
It was talking about a hockey game coming up. And it is the Predators are playing against the Oilers.
Oh, no.
And they were on the meme was calling it the Diddy Bowl. And I'm like, ooh, but kind of funny though.
I feel like I saw that somehow. Like it very much rings a bell. Like I just scrolled and saw it.
Yeah, it came from one of my friends from Canada, which adds up because hockey.
Oh my. So give me Indiana. The other matchup is so much more tough for me because I did not expect Miami to be here.
Same.
I give them kudos. Again, super talented team, but I feel like Cristobal, from what I've seen, always somehow finds a way to choke. Ole Miss, I 100% thought was going to lose that game, and I didn't even know they won. I literally woke up the next day because I think I had the game on upstairs. I came downstairs to play college football, went upstairs. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Then I went up there and I saw that they won. And then they showed the highlights and I was like, oh my God, this was a wild game. So I don't know. Something's telling me though that Miami is destined somehow to get here. So I'm going to go with Miami. I don't know why. I can't even tell you. This is like one of the hardest picks I think I've ever had to make. But somehow, some way, some shape, Miami will make it. So opposite of what you said.
After taking out Ohio State, I would be fine if they won. I'm just so thankful that the Ohio State fans in my lives don't get to repeat and tell me that they won twice in a row. And that's not shade. That's just like, let's be honest here. Ohio State fans are annoying. Okay? Just being honest. Starting with the. Get rid of that in your vocabulary and we'll take you more seriously.
That's going to be clippable. We'll see what happens there. All right, and then the other thing we promised was playoff bracket wild card picks. We're not going to do. I don't care as much about the spread for this. So let's just do straight up. Who do you think is going to win? So Bills.
Hold on, I'm going to throw something at you. This is a curveball, right? Okay. Do you have the playoff bracket handy? I know that we have like links for it and whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Pull it up. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. This is gonna be my segment for you called First Thoughts, and basically I want you to tell me. Because there's some random ass teams on here this year. There's some teams that I didn't expect to be here. I'm going to read off the names of these teams in the playoffs, and I want you to give me the first thought that comes to your mind for each team as it relates either to the fact that they made the playoffs or their chance to winning or whatever comes to mind. It can be anything. Cool?
Okay. So don't make a pick, but just give you my first thought.
Yeah, I just want to know the first thing that comes to your mind whenever I say this team's name that's in the playoffs. Okay. Denver Broncos.
Bo Nix.
You can't just name players for all of them, okay? I want to hear like reactions.
No, I won't. That was my first thought. Bo Nix.
All right, Buffalo Bills.
My Super Bowl pick. They're gonna make it.
Ooh, I'm gonna pause you there. I'm terrified. You know I'm a Buffalo guy, right? Is there a hotter team in football? Maybe the Texans, but Jacksonville has looked so good recently, and I never thought I would have said that. But they're even a higher seed than the Bills. 13-4. I'm scared, man. I really hope the Bills win. We'll see. Anyway, let me transition here. Jacksonville Jaguars.
They have low playoff experience.
Okay. Is that your first reaction for Jags?
It was, yeah.
Limited experience.
Well, when you said the Jags, that was my first thought right there. Limited experience. Chargers? Well, how does Keenan Allen still play? Chargers? I don't really have any thought. I don't know. Random, I guess.
Yeah. Random is good. Yep. Yeah. First thoughts, New England Patriots this year.
Surprised.
It's good.
That they would be that good.
Houston Texans.
Hot. They're a hot team. They've won, what is it, like 10 in a row? Yeah, I was going to say, like literally just went on a roll somehow.
Dude, they started off the season 0-3 and they ended it 12-5.
Yeah,
and
opposite of the Colts.
All of the shit. I was talking to all of the shit. I was like, you know what? I thought Stroud was going to be good, but he's a bust at this point because last year he was just kind of mid. This year he started off terrible. He got hurt. And I feel like after he came back from injury, this whole team was just like, nope, we remember our identity. We're winners again. And they haven't really lost since then.
It's fair.
Okay. And this one will be a fun one. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Somehow consistent. They always finish with a winning season and make the playoffs. I don't know.
Jack of all trades, master of none type shit.
Yeah, like somehow they make it. I mean, does Aaron Rodgers change the narrative? We'll see.
No. Okay. Anyway.
I don't like a Houston matchup for them, but we never know.
Okay. First impressions, the Seahawks.
Sam Darnold. I mean, literally
there. Like I want to pause you there. Give that man his flowers. Everyone was like, he probably can't repeat what he did in the Vikings. It was just all the weapons he had there. Look at him. I think he has the exact same record he had last year, 14-3.
Yeah.
And people could say, well, he has JSN. Yeah, JSN is a great wide receiver. He was not the best wide receiver in the league last year, but he
Right.
was this year.
Yep.
So,
Turnaround, yeah.
okay, a team that kind of slipped to the end here, but is still always lethal. The Los Angeles Rams.
Well, it's comical that Carolina's ranked higher than them in this.
Yeah.
That was
Unfair.
that's literally my first thought when I thought of it, to be fair.
That game is going to be a slaughter. Anyway, continue.
I mean, they could be deadly in that side of the playoff bracket.
Okay. Carolina Panthers.
Lucky.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
This will be fun. Green Bay Packers. And I want to pause before I get your first impression here. This was a team after like 5-6 weeks that we were like, oh, this team is a legit Super Bowl contender. What is your first thoughts now?
Green Bay, again, like I kind of like the Steelers. Consistently there, but always disappointing somehow.
Okay. What about
seems to be
the 11-6 Chicago Bears? First thoughts on them?
Limited experience in the playoffs, so I'll be curious to see how far they go.
Cool. San Francisco 49ers coming in as a 6 seed with a 12-5 record.
Definitely surprised me based on the injuries that they were that reasonable at the end.
Yeah. Our defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sneaky.
Ooh, okay. You know what I would have said for them? Overrated.
Well, you never know. I don't know. Just run the ball, I guess.
I appreciate it. So first impressions there. Now we can go into the picks. But I was just like, man,
Okay.
I just want to kind of appreciate the bracket that we have before it gets torn apart with wins and losses.
Yep. Okay. Bills, Jags.
My heart says one thing and my mind says another. I'm going to hate myself for this. Okay, I'm going to rationalize it first, and then I'll say my pick. One of these teams has been one of the hottest teams in the NFL for like the last 5 weeks, posting just like superstar numbers, and has a ton of turnovers that they force on defense. They intercept a ton of passes. The other team has a quarterback that is a superstar, superman, superhero, trying to do the best with nobody else around him really doing anything other than his running back. And for that reason, it's going to kill me to say this, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I'm going to choose the Jaguars to beat the Bills. They also have home field advantage, which helps.
Give me the Bills. They're going to grind.
I hope they do.
Chargers, Patriots.
I'm going to use the F word here. I think these are two teams that are fraudulent based upon their actual overall records.
Wow.
I do not think the Chargers should be 11-6. I think they're a respectable team. I also don't think New England should be 14-3, although I do still think they would be a highly ranked team in the playoffs. So it's tough for me to choose here, but I will say New England is at home. I think that overall, that team with their coaching and just everything seems to be gelling a little bit more. They're a little more consistent, even if not as sexy at times. Give me the Patriots.
I like the Patriots as well.
Man of less words.
Well, I mean, Houston, Steelers, or Texans, Steelers. Sorry.
Congratulations to the Steelers for winning the quick exit in the playoffs bowl last week against the Ravens. Texans are going to smoke you. Good season.
Texans. I could be wrong, but Texans.
I don't think the Steelers can score points against the Texans, although Riley Leonard did this week. So who knows?
DK Metcalf is supposed to be back, so that could help. That could be like the X factor. We'll see.
But did DK Metcalf really make a difference this year for that team? He was all right. He wasn't. I mean, I'm not talking shit, but he wasn't like a needle mover. He didn't change the outcome of games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're better with him than without him. If I had to
True.
pick.
Yep. I can't wait to see that Houston defense shut down old ass Aaron Rodgers.
We'll see if you don't have to teach an old dog new tricks in this game.
There we go.
Rams, Panthers.
Rams by a mile. This is going to be a stupid game. I probably won't even watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if all things are indicative of what happened in the regular season, the Rams should roll easily. Packers.
Respect to the Panthers. They have improved since last year, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
But they are out of their depths playing against the Rams. It's an insult that they have a higher overall ranking in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Bears, Packers.
Oh my gosh. This is my game of the week. I think this is going to be such a fun football game. They split their regular season games. The Packers won at home. The Bears won at home. I think that they're both a little healthier than maybe they have been in recent weeks coming into this week, which makes it an even better game. I'm probably going to hate myself for saying this, but give me the Bears to take down the Packers and really show that this was not a fluke season for them.
Give me the Packers to get their redemption.
Okay. This is kind of a tiebreaker for them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and a sloppy game, like we'll call it.
Okay.
49ers, Eagles, last one.
I want to preface this. I'm not a 49ers fan by nature, but I feel this strong pull this season to see the 49ers make the Super Bowl because they've had to overcome so much adversity with injuries and just all kinds of shit this year. They're still banged up, but they're a little bit healthier. Give me the Niners. I don't like watching the Eagles play football. I think they're boring. And I feel bad that Saquon Barkley is taking a step back this year, but I don't mind watching Jalen Hurts have subpar passing stats. And I don't mind watching AJ Brown bitch and complain about not getting the ball thrown his way enough because this is not a complete football team. This is a team of people who all want the ball, who all want the spotlight. Give me the Niners. They're much more selfless, and I just want to see them win and overcome all the shit that they've gone through.
Well, years ago, Scott, I used to watch the NBA a lot more, and I, used to kind of follow the Lakers a bit, and they would always play the Spurs in the playoffs or in the finals. And I absolutely hated the Spurs because of how boring they were. They were so fundamentally sound, and they rebounded well, they played great defense, like they just did the fundamental things well, and what I mean, they won somehow. So give me the Eagles with the boring ass team, but somehow the defending champs, I think, just have that fundamentals and they have the experience to take them to the next level here.
They're a well-rounded team. I just cannot stand watching them play football, and I don't think that they utilize their strengths as well as they should because of ego. So could see this being a coin flip as many of these games could be. I think we're in for a much, much, much better week of football than we were last week.
Yeah.
And I really cannot wait to see who wins this first round, because then it's going to get a lot harder to predict.
Well, we got a lot of great football coming up. We got college football. We have the playoffs kicking off for NFL, etc. So cheers to some hopefully great football coming this weekend. I will not be here next week, as you know. I'm going to be out in DC for a work trip. So it sounds like you might have some fun returning guests to talk through some even more football for people, right?
Yeah, we're going to do a kind of a follow-up from our big fantasy football playoff preview episode that we had a few weeks ago with Jordan, Drew, and Zach. Zach won't be available, but we're going to have Jordan and Drew back to kind of talk about like what we're calling post-mortem for fantasy football now that the season's over. Yeah. And then definitely looking forward to talking playoff football and kind of Super Bowl hopefuls and wherever everything takes us from there.
Sweet, man. Well, cheers everybody to some good football and a good weekend.
Hey, cheers to your Oregon Ducks, my friend. It's kind of awesome that we have football for college. These playoff games are on Thursday and Friday this week, I think, which is kind of crazy. And then we'll take a break on Saturday. No, Saturday we'll have NFL again. Yep. So yeah, holy shit, we got a good 4 days of football coming up here.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll catch you next time.
Yes, sir. Hey, safe travels next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Adios.